Well, I did say eventually I might be back, and I'm going to jump back in. This is a single-shot LP, Bushido Blade. The fighter, most people remember it from the PlayStation era for its single defining characteristic relative to other fighters, and that is that it does not have a health bar. This is the sort of fighting game where combat can begin and end in 2 hits. You hitting your opponent in the face with an oversized sledgehammer, and his body hitting the floor. However, we're not going to be using the sledgehammer, we're going through story mode with the Red Shadow, who is far ineffective with this. And we get our standard, you know, what the fuck, ninjas, assassins shit introduced, because, you know, we couldn't just have a fighting game. And funnily enough, for a game that is supposedly starring a bunch of ninja assassins, it is still titled Bushido Blade, and the game actually does penalise you for fighting dirty. The only way to get to the proper final ending in this game is to fight fair, not get hit, and generally be the nice guy the entire time. You can probably guess by now that I completely failed at that one. Oh, and they didn't actually bother to redo the voice acting outside of the intro cinematic. They were real lazy about this port. So we got our setup. Red Shadow is trying to get out of the cult, and you'll be seeing a lot of that loading screen, by the way. And he's going to have to get around everyone to do it because no one else knows why he's leaving, blah blah blah. This is our intro fight with a woman whose name I can't actually remember. Shows you how long it's been. The reason I'm not fighting and I'm just doing a complete runner here rather than trying to actually kill her is that at this point I had not yet fucked up getting the proper ending. And the only way to get the proper ending is, rather than fight your first opponent, is to run all the way across the map, find the secret exit that will skip you straight to the second fight, and go from there. So in conclusion, right from the first stage of the game, Bushido Blade is being a cunt about things. Excusing the harsh language. It also doesn't give you a map or anything. As you can see, some rather retarded looking combat right there. There's not really a whole lot to say, except I need to run around. And bearing in mind, this was all done in one take with no save states. And I hadn't played it in about 3 years properly. I don't actually remember where I'm supposed to go at this point. I'm just running for the sake of running. And because if I stop, the woman in pink is going to impale me. As almost happened right there. I've spoken about the combat system in this game a little bit, but the way it works is when you're not running around, i.e. you're actually in normal combat stance, you have 3 stances, high, medium, low. That sort of determines where you hold your weapon and what attacks are actually available to you. And also a lot of what you can defend. If you're in high stance, good luck defending against anything that comes in low. It's just going to go right underneath your guard and cut your legs off. I'm not even joking about that. This game is not forgiving in terms of what it will let you get away with. Same thing with the low stance. If it comes in at your head, good luck. And yeah, it also changes what attacks you have available. There aren't actually a huge amount of attacks in this game. There's not even any particularly long combos. I think the longest weighs in at 5 hits, and you will not need all 5 unless you've done something considerably wrong. So it's quite a basic combat system. 3 attack buttons, 1 button to parry. You can't just hold down block, you've actually got to time it against the incoming strike. Get it wrong, your weapon will get bounced out the way and you'll probably get murdered in the follow-up. Get it right, you'll deflect your opponent's weapon and have a pretty good shot at a counter-attack. It's not a complicated system in terms of your abilities, but timing-wise and the interaction between them can be quite deep. It's quite good in that respect. But we're still running. We got lamps. Lamps, not candles. There are not candles that size. And we're running. We're going to eventually make our way a long way away from here, diving down here into the mud. This actually changes your clothes palette, and that remains with you pretty much for the rest of the game. But this would have taken a lot less time had I actually bothered to, check a map or remember where I was headed. I completely fucked this up at this point. So we've stumbled upon, sadly enough, going for the secret ending also gives away this game's semi-big plot twist. Not that it really matters, because the last regular fight gives it away anyway. No, it's not even that, it's the mid-boss fight that gives it away. So we have to keep running here because we have to actually wait for them to get suitably close before we can go to the next area, which involves us jumping up yet more stairs, hoping not to get impaled by the scary woman in pink, and running away while wearing red pyjamas. So it's all in the day of a life of whatever the hell a Bushido Blade protagonist is, because they're certainly not ninja and they're certainly not samurai. So now we're into what is basically a construction site. And yes, very pixelated graphics in this one. It's an early PlayStation game, live with it. And we're running because if we stop and kill her, we don't get the good ending. I'm not going to get the good ending anyway because I fucked up later on, but... And we're going to keep running. Get our bearings back because I've completely lost where the fuck I am at this point. I apologise for the quality of the video, it's atrocious for some reason. I could have sworn I recorded it in much better quality than this. And now we're entering, or will be entering the construction site as soon as she goes through. That is actually a wind effect, by the way. It does seem to go down. I was very lucky not to get impaled by that running strike right there. As you can see that area up in the top, which looks like it runs down into sewers or something. That's where we're going to go. And of course, jumping in this game is rather difficult because it's not a single button press. You need to run and then perform a sliding combo of 2 of the shoulder buttons like that. This time, all you do is dodge, which is rather unuseful if somebody's trying to murder you. And that will take us to the loading screen and skip us straight to the second fight. So half this video is done already, and we don't actually have... So that is how quick fights in this game begin and end. A mistimed low slash gets you stabbed in the face. Goodbye. Notice the character still has the mud on his clothes from earlier. Yeah, fights in this game, quite often very, very short. But straight up in the same area, and I said we'd be seeing a lot of that loading screen. Straight to Itsushima, who's basically the heavy hitter in this game. And that is what happens. Non-fatal strikes in this game cripple limbs when they hit. As you see, the green symbol there is a well-timed parry. A blue one stuns them, badly timed, and gets you basically having your throat slit. Not exactly the most complicated looking of fights, it's all about the timing. Poor Itsusemi, he's sort of the bruiser character in this one. And he appears to know a whole lot more about this than most of them. So we're getting the hell out of Dodge. And that brings us to the biggest bullshit fight in this game. That is Katsei the Gunman. He, as his name suggests, has a gun. He can parry with it. He can shoot you stone dead from across the map. He is a complete bastard. As you see, the game's hit detection's a little bit dodgy sometimes. Hits that should be fatal don't always register as that. But it keeps you stun juggling him and can sort of roll into it. He's also capable, and this is what got me. Sometimes his shots will nick you and not actually register on screen as hits, but they still count as hits in the game engine. And if you've taken so much as one hit in the game, you don't get the proper ending. Or the final boss fight, for that matter. So here we've got a strange caped bastard with a double-ended naginata, as you see me completely botch a parry there. I actually timed that right. The weight difference of the weapons is such that if I try and parry it, I'm going to get knocked back. And as you see, a very short fight there. Get to take his legs out and stab him while he's down. If I hadn't already taken damage and lost the access to the last fight, that would have done it for violating the code. If you attack an enemy with his back turned before he's introduced himself or when he's on the ground laying down, yeah, it pretty much counts as violating the code. Which sucks. Now we've got another fight going on. These fights can go very shortly, and as you see me take a hit there, if I cared about it, I would be kind of screwed right now. And caving her face in with the saber. Very lucky I did that a split second later, and I probably would have gotten taken out myself. This is not a game that gives you a lot of second chances in a fight. You tend to have to continue if you want them. Luckily, the game does give you an infinite number of continues if you're actually doing it that way. Me, I'm doing the whole thing in one big rush. And this is the final normal enemy, who is a gloating motherfucker who just hates everyone. Because I've fucked up so many things, I don't get the proper final boss, which is dependent on which character you played. This guy's a fixed fight. He also runs around and generally acts like a bastard. Doesn't fight normally. The thing is, if you stop taking him seriously, he's quite likely to throw an attack at you and actually kill you like you almost saw there. But I'm going to stab him in the back, and I'm going to mutilate the corpse repeatedly. Because he's on the ground and he can't defend himself, so that's basically the best time to do it. And now we get our ending cinematic, which is distorted for some reason I can't tell. And he's completely changed his appearance from his in-game one. He's about 30 years younger. So either I've missed an element to this game, or I don't know. I don't care. Now our character gets the inevitable moment of existential angst when she realises her purpose no longer exists, because it just wouldn't be a Japanese fighting game without a female main character getting one of those. Though there aren't any, tentacles or violent rapes involved, so we've at least gone one step up in most games. So the man is dead. Our character is homeless and alone. So all in all, a happy ending. This is of course the bad ending for Red Shadow. Because I fucked up, I don't get the final boss fight, I don't get the proper ending. And that's all she wrote, except for the credits, which obviously she didn't write.